begin, we'd like to just tell you a little bit about Brightlingsea Sailing Club. The club is on the River Colne, which is on the coast of Essex, and our membership is about 650 members. We were established over 130 years ago, and for most of those years we were primarily a dinghy racing club. We've always had a passion to introduce youngsters to sailing, and both Craig and myself came through that system far too many years ago. About 10 years ago, the club had RYA recognition as a training centre, and more recently we've realised that the need to diversify to keep the club activities buoyant and for the future of the club. We were approached by the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation, which was set up in memory of Sir Thomas Lipton, who was an entrepreneur whose main passion was sailing, as many of you probably know. They were looking for a partner to introduce a scheme that they'd set up in Glasgow, where Sir Thomas Lipton lived, but for somewhere in England. And their scheme includes about getting youngsters from deprived backgrounds into understanding the opportunities that you can have from humble backgrounds. Part of this, we then obviously needed to set up the scheme for them in England. And Craig, you'll be able to tell them what we needed to do to enable this to happen.
Yeah, that's right, Alice. And as you've mentioned, we were a RYA sailing school, a well-established school for probably about 10 years now. And when Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation came to us, we didn't need to do a lot, because as we said, we already had the school up and running. We had all the risk assessments and policies, and the most important thing, we had the qualifications, i.e. the dinghy instructors, the AIs, and the boats, because we've already been running courses. So when we were approached, we jumped at the opportunity to run this.
Yeah, we also, obviously we had the liaison with the schools, or with initially the one school, and what that included, and the foundation like the children to be able to attain their stage one, their youth stage one. So, and perhaps you can expand on that, and of like what we do at the end of the week, and with the prize givings and things. Yeah,
well, I mean, what we wanted to do to these children is to look at the RYA stages and see what we could actually offer them for the 5 days. Bearing in mind, although most of it's on the water sailing, we did activities in the club as well and on the beach. So we set out that we would try and award every child a stage 1 certificate for the 5 days sailing. It was always funny to see when they first came off the coach on the Monday morning, you could see they were really nervous and, you know, holding on to teacher's hand. But by the time they got to us on the Friday, you couldn't keep them off the coach. They just ran off the coach straight onto the beach, into the boats. So it was really good to see the children moving from Monday being a bit nervous and to Friday being really good sailors and enjoying themselves. The final thing we do on the Friday is that Lawrence, who's the guy who is part of the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation, we did a prize giving with the Commodore there, and we present stage 1 certificates and also T-shirts, which I think you'll probably see with pictures. We've got pictures of the children wearing their T-shirts, and as you probably know, children just love watching and wearing those items. And to get a stage 1 certificate was a real bonus for these children who may not have done that before, may not have got a certificate for sailing, and I most certainly wouldn't have done.
And also, we're now taking them further, aren't we? Because some of the children come back with been able to get extra funding, not just from the foundation, but from also and other charities, where they're now coming back and doing further courses, and that's really helped them as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. To start off with, Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation would identify, or we would identify, 3 or 4 children that we felt deserves to come back and perhaps do their stages 2, 3 and 4. And in the last couple of years, we've also been helped by TS Rebel Trust and also some local businesses that encourage or ask the children to come back, and the children don't have to pay anything here. And the one thing that we found, of these children who came back and some who haven't come back but stayed for the first week when they were at school.
There were things we needed to put in place to be able to run the scheme for them. Craig, perhaps you'd like to explain what those were.
Yeah, absolutely. The advantage we had, that we're already an RYA sailing school. We've been a sailing school for about 10 years, as you mentioned. So all of our policies, our risk assessments were in place. We also had the boats there to take the children out in. So we were really a well-established sailing school. And when Lawrence approached us, it was just a perfect thing for us to do, to help with the local schools. And also when he told us the background of some of these schools, it was so important for us to do it. So we jumped at it.
I mean, we've been now doing this scheme for 5 years, and it's developed over those 5 years. One of the things I know is that we gained extra funding from the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation, but also other charities, to do further courses. Perhaps you'd like to explain about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Thomas Lipton Foundation helped us with children in the first 2 or 3 courses when we identified children that we'd like to bring back, again, at no cost to them, to further their sailing and their RYA courses. The TS Rebel Trust also was another charity that helped bringing back children, and a couple of local businesses helped. Just to, if we could have had our way, we'd have brought them all back, but obviously that's impossible. We wanted to bring as many children back as we could, and that's really been good for the club, because now some of those people have joined the club. They've joined the cadets as cadets at the club, and also a couple of them have brought boats, so they've become family members at the club. So our membership has grown as well, and these children and even the parents probably would never have gone sailing if it wasn't for what Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation has done for us.
I mean, also we've managed to secure funding through the Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation on having some new boats as well, which has been a benefit to the club. Our dinghy instructors and our assistant instructors have all gained experience from being with the children for those weeks. Perhaps you can explain more about that.
Yeah, again, when Sir Thomas Lipton said they would like to purchase a couple of boats for us, although we had several boats, to put 2 more boats on the water, particularly larger boats, means that we could take more children on the water at one time. So we didn't, before when we used to do courses, we'd have a group of children waiting on the beach to go sailing, but now we can get all of the children on the water in one go. The other thing, as you mentioned, Alice, was the dinghy instructors that we use, and particularly the AIs, would learn so much with working with these children, which makes them into better instructors perhaps in the long run. So we all gain from working with these children and watching the progress throughout the week.
I mean, sadly, we weren't able to provide the on-water activity for them this year because the schools were closed during the period that we normally do it. But I know that we're starting the planning process for 2021. But obviously, things, not knowing exactly what's going to happen yet, but we're provisionally planning with some changes. Perhaps you could expand on that for us.
Yeah, again, as you've mentioned, this year we've done no courses for Sir Thomas Lipton Foundation at all because of the COVID, which was a real shame for the children who missed out this year. Unfortunately, we can't do a lot about that this year, but next year we're already in talks with Lawrence, and if we are still at the same position as we are now, we desperately want this to go ahead, perhaps slightly different to next year than it would have been in normal years. Lawrence's idea is that maybe we can do it with less children, over a longer period of time. So when we have 60 children over 1 week, we'd do 20 children, say, over 3 weeks. So we'd only have 20 children on the water in any one go. And we feel that numbers being only 20 with the COVID may just work. So we're going to wait and see, but plans are, we're going to really make this work if we can.
Yeah, I mean, it has always been so important. I mean, I know from being around as well, to see the look on the children's faces while they're doing it, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's a whole new experience for them, and the confidence they gain from it is incredible. I mean, it's been a great opportunity for our club in the fact that it's enabled us to diversify our activities, something we hadn't thought of doing before. You know, it's something new. Certainly we'd recommend it, or recommend doing things outside of the box to other clubs. And I think, you know, they'd all find it a great opportunity and for the futures of their club as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our club has grown so much, as we said earlier, particularly our instructors. We gain so much by having them here. And I also just think for the children, the Thomas Lipton Foundation is doing this free of charge for all these children. So they're bringing them on the buses. The children don't have to pay anything. So it's just marvellous that this foundation can do this, and with Lawrence's help. And Lawrence has just made this work so well.
Yeah. We're very grateful to it. I mean, I think both on a personal level and on a club level, we've all been very grateful for it. And I hope to everybody that's listening to this video can see that sometimes, you know, you have to do something different for a club to grow. Thank you.